Breaking news today. In a show of solidarity, the U.S. has expelled 2 Russian diplomats. In response to the Russian Federation's politically motivated expulsion of 2 U.S. diplomats from the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, State Department spokesman Matthew Miller said, "We have declared 2 Russian embassy officials operating in the United States to be persona non grata." On Friday, the United States announced it would expel 2 Russian diplomats in response to Moscow's expulsion of 2 American diplomats the previous month. In response to the Russian Federation's specious expulsion of 2 U.S. Embassy Moscow diplomats, the State Department reciprocated by declaring persona non grata 2 Russian embassy officials operating in the United States, Matthew Miller, a State Department spokesman. Last month, Russia announced that it was expelling 2 American diplomats for meeting with Robert Shanov, a Russian citizen who had previously worked at the U.S. consulate in Vladivostok. The United States claims it hired Shanov, a former diplomat who was laid off when it reduced its diplomatic staff, to conduct routine monitoring of Russian public media. Russia claimed he leaked classified information about Ukraine and announced his arrest in August. Miller said in a statement that the State Department will not tolerate the pattern of harassment of our diplomats by the Russian government. The department's actions send a clear message that unacceptable actions against our embassy personnel in Moscow will have consequences. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine a year ago, relations between the 2 countries have worsened significantly. The United States claims there is no need for high-level talks beyond specific issues like prisoner exchanges. Even before the war broke out, the United States had a much smaller diplomatic presence in Russia due to a decree by President Vladimir Putin that severely restricted the hiring of local staff. As a result, many Russians seeking American visas had to travel to embassies in other countries. When the United States hosts a summit of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) forum next month, the State Department made it abundantly clear that it would not welcome Putin. Russia is a member of APEC. Earlier on Friday, Vice President Joe Biden suggested he might be able to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping at the upcoming summit in San Francisco. Miller made a passing reference to the International Criminal Court's potential charges against Putin earlier this week. The United States is not a member of the Hague-based tribunal. Putin skipped summits in India and South Africa, 2 countries much more receptive to Russia than the United States. I would be highly surprised if Vladimir Putin, who has been at times reluctant to leave his own borders recently for fear of arrest for the war crimes he's committed, wanted to show up at a meeting in San Francisco, said Miller. Anatoly Antonov, Russia's ambassador to the United States, responded, "The level of representation at APEC is the prerogative of Russia.